So what are the top 10 breeds that I would choose to survive the apocalypse with? Welcome back to the Fenrir Canine Show. If you are new here, my name's Will. I'm a canine behaviourist, and on this channel, it's dedicated to helping you choose the right breed for you, then how to become high-level canine leaders that raise perfect canine companions. So if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, like this video, all that jazz. Join this amazing community that we've got going on here, and I can't wait to speak to you all down in the comment section below. So we are living through unprecedented times right now, and here in the UK we are on a full lockdown, other than being able to get outside in the fresh air one time a day to do a little bit of exercise, which is what me and my mate Sully. Hey Sully, how are you, birdie? You don't care, do you? You're a happy boy. That's what we're doing right now. Now, these are scary times. There are a lot of people that are going to lose loved ones, and that is absolutely devastating. But like a lot of people out there, I do believe that as a community, as a society, as a country, as a globe, as humans, we are going to get through this, and we're going to come out the other end stronger than ever, hopefully with better sense as a community and a better sense of the importance of looking after each other, as well as just being humbled a little bit and not taking things for granted. And as someone that is constantly liking to look forward and where we're going to next, it has got me thinking about those preppers out there who must right now probably be underground in their bunkers somewhere like this in the middle of nowhere, happy that they're safe, prepared and ready to take on the apocalypse if this was the end of the world. Now, I don't think that this is the end of the world whatsoever, but like I say, it seems like it might be a little bit of a wake-up call, and when we do come out of this, there's a little part of me that's thinking maybe those preppers are onto something. Maybe we should start preparing for if this is a sign of something much worse to come. I want to be prepared, and as a canine behaviourist, one of the things that I would want to be prepared with was making sure that I had a dog by my side that is perfect for taking on the apocalypse with. So I thought I'd make the most of being out in the beautiful countryside and talk to you guys about what the top 10 breeds that I would choose to survive the apocalypse with. But first of all, we need to kind of discuss, well, if we want a dog that can survive the apocalypse, what kind of things are we looking for? It would be easy just to think that we want the biggest, meanest, scariest guard dog breed in the world, and job's a good one. But actually, when I started to think about it, I was like, there's lots of layers that we want on with this. Not only do we want a dog that would be protective and guarding, because during the apocalypse, stuff's going to get crazy, and you're going to want a dog that can help look after you physically. But also, as things settle down, I would want a utilitarian dog. Not only would I want a dog that could help look after me, but I'd want a dog that could help me find food. So I'd want them to have good hunting skills. I'd want a dog that could help me day to day, maybe pull in carts so that I can pull big logs of wood to build shelters. And if they get poorly, we're not going to be able to just call up the vet and get things fixed straight away. So I'd want a dog that is robust and healthy and able to live for a long amount of time, that doesn't necessarily suffer from lots of health issues. Now, if the apocalypse happens, I probably would find myself somewhere like this. I love being in the woodlands anyway, and naturally I think it would be a good place. I live right on the doorstep of Cannock Chase, so if the apocalypse ever happens and you want to come and join our community, you can probably find me buried somewhere in the middle of the Cannock Chase forest. Make sure you bear in mind that I am going to have an army of apocalypse dogs ready to look after our community should you be up to no good. But if we are in the forest, I want them to be able to handle the climate of the forest. I don't want them to be affected by the cold or the wind or the rain, so you have to balance lots of different things when you really think about what dog would be an excellent dog during the apocalypse. So I had a little bit of think about it. I'm going completely off the top of my dome today. I want this to be a little bit of fun. Sully's already found the water, so I'm going to let him have a little bit of a swim while the sun's out, blow off some energy, drain his mind a little bit while we play a bit of fetch, and talk to you guys about the top 10 dogs that I am going to choose when it's time to survive the apocalypse. You have to go in every little bit of water, mate. Every single little bit. Is that kind of your thing? You need to find a stick first. Where's your stick? Where's the stick? Yeah, go find a stick. Now I'm going to start off my list at number 10 with the Central Asian Shepherd. Now the Central Asian Shepherd is a breed that I actually don't have much first-hand experience with. I've helped a few clients online with Central Asian Shepherds, but they're very rare here in the UK. So I'd be reluctant, even though they might possibly be one of the best breeds that you could choose, I'd be reluctant to make them higher on my list, because during the apocalypse is not a time to be taking chances with breeds that you don't have much experience with. And like I say, this list is going to be completely my own bias, but from the little bit of first-hand experience online I've had with Central Asian Shepherds, as well as the abundance of research I've done into the breed, they could offer an excellent plethora of fantastic opportunities during the apocalypse. First of all, they're a very robust dog and able to handle extreme climates. They're very large, powerful, naturally guarding dogs, so it definitely ticks that box. They're quite independent, so I'd worry about the level of training I was able to get them to, but I definitely feel confident in allowing them to look after myself and my family and the little community that we'd build somewhere out in the middle of the woods. If we started to rear some animals, it'd be awesome to have a Central Asian Shepherd be able to protect those from predators, to make sure that myself and my family are able to have access to the meat and the products that our animals would be grazing. I think the Central Asian Shepherd would be a fantastic choice to survive the apocalypse with, but personally for me, I just haven't got enough experience to really commit to taking that chance. I'd want to choose a breed that I've got lots of experience with, that I know exactly what I'm getting into when it comes down to it. So with that being said, at number 9, I'm going to choose the Newfoundland. Now, the Newfoundland definitely has some amazing positives, but unfortunately it does have some negatives in terms of the apocalypse. We'll start off with the good, and some of the positives are going to include that Newfoundland would be an amazing snuggle bunny. They're extremely warm, so they'd make a fantastic hot water bottle while you're trying to sleep through the winter. They'd also be brilliant in terms of utilitarian. You can train them really well. Sully's here. What have you seen, Sully? Sorry about that again, I'm trying to not be the weirdo in the woods talking into a camera and scaring people. But back to the Newfoundland, like I say, they could be extremely utilitarian. If you're able to get your hands on a gun and you want to go shooting, the retrieval skills of a Newfoundland would be fantastic. If you buy a river and you need help with them retrieving out of water, again, huge tick there. Extremely trainable, so you could get them to be, you could teach them to do pretty much anything that you need from them. But unfortunately, what really would suffer, I think, with a Newfoundland, also very robust and quite healthy for large, powerful dogs as well, but they're just not enough guarding. I would need a dog that is able to guard and protect and keep myself and the family and the community that we'd hopefully build safe. And I just don't think the Newfoundland has that in it in terms of the apocalypse. And God forbid we're talking zombie apocalypses, because then there is no chance I'm looking at the Newfoundland. I'd need something with a little bit more oomph, shall we say. Now, speaking of a little bit more oomph, the dog at number 8 that I have is the Dogo Argentino. Now, spoiler alert, you guys are probably going to be shocked to know that the Dogo Argentino is going to be the only Mastiff on my list. As much as I love Mastiffs, and you guys get on at me about that, I always bang on about Mastiffs, and I love Mastiffs, and I'm super biased towards Mastiffs, which, yes, I am. When it comes to the apocalypse, I just don't think the majority of the Mastiffs would make a good choice. I think the Dogo Argentino is an exception for a few reasons, but the main reason that Mastiffs aren't going to feature high in the rest of this list is just that their health is too much of a liability. Again, in the apocalypse, you need reliability, and one of the big reliabilities that you need from your dogs that are going to be working with you is them being robust and being able to stay as healthy as possible for as long as possible, to be able to help you for as long as possible. And Mastiffs, like I say, they just suffer from too many health issues for me. The Dogo Argentino is up there with health issues, but not as much as many of the other Mastiff breeds. But the Dogo Argentino also is above and beyond in terms of their hunting ability, which would be absolutely fantastic during the apocalypse to make sure they can help you with food. Their guarding skills are through the roof, so they're a massive tick in that box. They're very utilitarian. You can train them for lots of different things. Like I say, they thrive in guarding and hunting, but it doesn't mean that you couldn't use them for many other roles during the apocalypse. But my main worry with the Dogo would probably be them being able to be extremely comfortable in very harsh climates, especially here in the UK. We're nowhere near as bad as some of the kind of Scandinavian countries or some of the places in America, and definitely you guys from Canada, but our winters can get a little bit chilly. So let's do some recall away from distraction with Sully. Sully, come on. Come on. Good boy. Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Always finding times to practice. There's a little bit of a delay there. I would have liked that to be faster. But you're still a good boy, aren't you? You're a good boy. But I don't know if you saw there was 3 dogs off their lead just round the corner. That's what he wanted to go for. But I like that he gave me a look back and he did listen to me. But that is definitely something that we can work on with Sully in terms of being able to get that on a dime and get that quicker, which is an important message for all dog owners. You are never ever done training, and unfortunately there's just never enough time in the day to work on everything. So when you're focusing on one thing, oftentimes that means that you're not drilling and practicing another thing. which then means that that can drop a little bit. And recall under extreme distraction like that for Sully is definitely something that we've probably not been working on as much as I would like to recently. And that was a big eye-opener. Obviously it was no problem, he was still able to come away from something that he really wanted to go and do, but still, like I say, that's something that I'm going to work on more, which is kind of a good time to mention. If you are in a country that's in a forced lockdown or quarantine and you're able to spend a lot more time with your dogs, please use this time, especially with things like obedience and mental stimulation. Do as many different training drills and different routines as possible to really be able to kind of level up your leadership, but also level up your dog's ability to be a perfect canine companion. Make the most out of this time, because when things get back to normal, I imagine we're all going to be very busy. Now at number 7 and number 6, I'm going to kind of combine them into one, because my reasoning for both breeds is pretty much almost identical, and obviously they are two different breeds and they do have their differences, but I think for the terms of what we're talking about today, I would kind of definitely put them into one, and that is the Irish Wolfhound and the Scottish Deerhound. Both are extremely ancient breeds, and both are breeds that are fantastic when it comes to hunting in extremely harsh climates. As you can probably tell by the names, that yes, they were bred to hunt deer as well as wolves, and they are very capable at it. They're not very often used for those roles anymore, and are often much more companion dogs or used for showing, but still quite a few people do use them for sports like coursing, so they definitely still have that in them. They're extremely athletic and very fast, like the greyhound, just a much bigger version. They are often the tallest dogs on the planet. They're not the biggest or the heaviest. That crown usually goes to the English Mastiff, but they are not a dog to be messed with. And if you put them, I think, back into their roots, back into the environment of being out in the forest, out in the countryside, and you need a utilitarian dog that will be naturally protective but also makes an absolutely fantastic hunting companion, then I think the Scottish Deerhound and the Irish Wolfhound could be a pleasure to spend the apocalypse with. Make it a good one. That was a good one. Now for number 5, I think we'll come and have a little bit of a sit down. I don't think the wind's too bad, so I can come out of the trees a little bit, because the last few videos I've noticed when the wind's been really bad on the microphones, it's not been the most pleasurable viewing. So let me take a little bit of a seat, and we're going to talk about the breed that I have at number 5, and that breed is the Black Russian Terrier. Now talk about like a jack of all trades, that is exactly what you get with the Black Russian Terrier. Able to resist extremely harsh climates. Those Russians do not mess around over there. They can live through some really brutal times, and the Black Russian Terrier is very able to accompany on them through that, and they were bred to do so. They're extremely trainable, making fantastic police and military dogs. They have absolutely fantastic watch and guard dog skills, which will again make them super useful in a wide variety of different scenarios. I don't know many examples of where they've been used in guarding, hunting roles, sorry, so that would be kind of a potential negative. I get the impression that you could probably train them to be very effective hunting dogs. But again, when we're talking about the apocalypse, isn't the time to be taking chances, which is why I've not kind of featured them a little bit higher on the list. But in terms of kind of an all-rounder, if that was the only breed I had access to, I certainly wouldn't be disappointed. I would be very happy to have a Black Russian Terrier accompany me through the apocalypse. It's absolutely beautiful out here, and we've really dropped on with some lovely weather here in the UK. It's gone from miserable recently with floods everywhere and not being able to get out anywhere that's muddy, because it's just, you can't walk through it, to now being absolutely glorious. And check this out, this isn't a bad view, is it, to kind of sit and film a video for? Definitely could be worse. Sully boy's a happy boy down there by the feet, just chilling. You happy, Sully? You got your stick there, buddy? You're a good lad. You're a good lad, aren't you? Yes, thank you for getting water all over the camera, I appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely stunning. By the way, before we move on with the video, I hope you're all okay. Hope you're all looking after each other. Remember, look after yourselves. Be kind wherever you can, help people. It's a really important time to do that right now. Now at number 4, I have the Caucasian Shepherd Dog. Now kind of anything that I said about the Central Asian Shepherd at the number 10 spot kind of is applicable with the Caucasian Shepherd Dog here as well. The thing is, I do just have much more experience with Caucasian Shepherd Dogs. Both breeds are very rare, but for some reason the Caucasian Shepherd I've just had more experience in my job as a behaviourist with, and they are incredible dogs. insane dogs in terms of like their physicality, and they're one of those dogs that have just got something in the eyes that a lot of other dog breeds don't. The level of seriousness and the level of intention that they take with their jobs and their role is through the roof, which for a lot of companion animals is not a good fit, and which is maybe why I see more of them than many other breeds. But they are absolutely out of this world in terms of their ability to guard not just yourself but also your property, as well as any livestock you might have. So again, absolutely fantastic in terms of preparing for the apocalypse. They're also incredible at being robust, healthy dogs that can live through insane harsh environments and climates. So again, huge tick in the box there. They're very fluffy, warm dogs. So again, as silly as it might sound, if it's middle of January and it's -8 outside and I'm living out in the woods, you better believe I'm spooning a dog to keep warm. So that's another massive tick in the box. Again, hunting, there's less kind of out there about their hunting abilities, but I have zero doubt that put them in that environment where it's kind of the difference between eating that night and not eating, and I've got a feeling you'll be absolutely fine having one of those by your side as a hunting companion. Now, the only reason they're not featuring a little bit higher is just because of their intelligence and trainability, and in terms of kind of utilitarian roles, about not just having them act kind of instinctively, but also being able to train them for specific tasks, which you might not know that you need from your dog until you're in the midst of the apocalypse, and you go, oh, I never thought I'd need my dog to do this, but it'd be really cool if they did. Oh, I wish I had a dog that was a little bit more trainable so I could teach them to do that. I'm just thinking that in terms of flexibility, I'm going to focus on some of the other breeds that we're going to look at now. And the first of those breeds is going to be the Rottweiler. Now, before I discuss why I've got the Rottweiler here, I'm going to let you know that the Doberman doesn't feature on this list, and the Doberman is one of those breeds that features very highly on a lot of my lists. And you might be interested as to know why they don't feature highly on this list for surviving the apocalypse, when they would actually tick so many of the boxes. The main reasons are around the harsh climate. They just haven't kind of got that level of fur. They're a much more close-lying furred coat. So I think you could make exceptions and you could make that work, but it's something to consider. But I think with the Doberman, as much as them being a large dog, what have you seen, buddy? What have you seen? Nothing. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Are you a good boy? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I would like just a bit more presence, a bit more physical and physicality and muscle mass, which is why I just couldn't quite bring myself to putting the Doberman on my list. Now, I've had a pack of Dobermans, that might be different, but if I had one dog that I needed to kind of cover all the roles that I would want, I don't know, there's something about it. I just think that the Doberman isn't quite there, and the Rottweiler was kind of teetering on the edge. The thing with the Rottweiler is they just have that much more musculature. Musculature, is that a word? Probably not. I'm sounding like a moron right now, but I think the Rottweiler, you know what I'm saying, they're beefier, they're more powerful, they're not quite as athletic, but I don't think I'd need a dog overly athletic unless it was in terms of chasing down something for hunting. But I think the Rottweiler in short bursts would be able to manage that no problem whatsoever. What I love about the Rottweiler is their ability to handle harsh conditions, no problem whatsoever. They're obviously fantastic guard dogs, extremely protective, so tick that box massively. But what I love about the Rottie is their flexibility, their adaptability, and their ability to kind of drop into so many different roles because they're so trainable and eager to work. And they're also switched on all the time, which again is something that I often say is a bad thing about the Rottweiler in terms of just living day to day. You don't want a dog that's switched on when you sat watching Netflix, but let's face it, in the middle of the apocalypse, you're not going to be sat binge watching Friends. You're going to want a dog that's constantly looking out for threats. Is there something going on? Do I need to be worried about something? Ready to go, ready to go, ready to go. And that is what I love about the Rottweiler. Now, taking my silver medal spot here today in the top 10 breeds to survive the apocalypse is the German Shepherd. Now, when I was writing this list, the first thing that popped into my head is Will Smith's German Shepherd in I Am Legend, and I had to kind of think to myself, is that swaying my opinion here? Is that making me biased towards the German Shepherd? And the answer probably might be yes, because that scene with that German Shepherd towards the end of the film, you know the scene I'm on about, broke my heart and is the reason I can't watch that film again. Even though I love apocalyptic films and I think that film is brilliant, I can't bring myself to watch it because of that darn scene, which I think naturally pulls on my heartstrings towards the German Shepherd. So if you want to accuse me of being super biased, I completely agree that might be the case, but I'm going to try and make my case here. And I think everything I just said about the Rottweiler, absolutely everything, you can add another point on in terms of the German Shepherd. They are more intelligent and more trainable. I will have that argument with anybody, including all the Rottweiler super fans. The German Shepherd just takes that up another notch. Obviously with their coats, they're super robust, super flexible, able to withstand massive variance in temperatures and in climates, which again is awesome. Their trainability, like I say, I've just mentioned that. That for me is obviously, I think, the #1 point, and you add that on with their physicality. They kind of flex over that boundary of athleticism and power really well, which is what makes them again so utilitarian. And in terms of kind of a utilitarian dog, not only are they brilliant guard dogs and watch dogs and protection dogs, but you can also train them more than easily to do any single task that you would require from a German Shepherd, which made them almost my #1 pick. But I'm going to talk about my #1 pick afterwards, and I'm hoping that it will make sense why I've chose that #1 pick over the German Shepherd. But I just think the German Shepherd's flexibility, and what we were talking about earlier with some of the other dogs, it's that reliability. You know what you're getting with a German Shepherd. Yeah, okay, maybe there's a couple of breeds that might be better in certain categories, but I don't think there's a breed that is as well-rounded and as reliable as the German Shepherd. And like I keep saying, in terms of the apocalypse, when the #2 is hitting the fan, as they say, reliability is going to be super important. And I just think the German Shepherd, there might not be a more reliable breed on the planet, maybe something like a Labrador or a Golden Retriever in terms of sheer reliability, but reliability on top of guarding and protecting and working role skills, again, I think the German Shepherd takes the crown there. And taking my gold medal spot, the #1 pick, and I'm going to talk to you as I'm walking, because I think I've been out for about an hour now, and I don't want to take the mick, because hashtag stay at home, all that stuff. Obviously, I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so social distancing is super easy, but I don't want to just take the piss too much. Sully's had a really good run. I've had a bit of fresh air, sorted out me mental health as well as a bit of physical health work. So look after yourselves physically, emotionally, and look after other people. I'm going to keep banging on about it through all of these videos until all this blows over and we can kind of get back to normal. But please look after yourselves, look after others, pull together. It's really important. But with all that said, let's go back to the topic of the video and the breed that I would have. Can you guess? Have you guessed by now? I'm interested. Have you been out? Okay, I thought he'd choose that one, but he's already discussed it. I thought he'd choose that one. I bet a lot of you thought I was going to go with the Connie Corso, but like I said, all those Mastiffs aren't being on the list. I'm going to tell you now, the Turkish Kangal. The Turkish Kangal is 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, the breed that I would want by my side right here if we were living through the genuine apocalypse, with the world completely crashed, the economy gone, utilities gone, zombies running around everywhere, Mad Max people trying to kill each other and steal from each other. The breed that I would want to be able to survive all of that carnage would be the Turkish Kangal. In terms of being a naturally protective, defensive guardian breed, I don't think there's a breed better on the planet, and if there is, it's very close. But the Turkish Kangal, incredibly capable of being protective, not just from other people, but they'll happily take on jackals and wolves and bears if they have to, without any fear whatsoever. Again, they're a breed that I very, very rarely recommend to anybody in any form of kind of companionship role, but this list couldn't be further from companionship requirements if we tried right now. So like I say, I think the Turkish Kangal, probably one of the best protection guarding on in terms of like a natural skill set in the world. In terms of their physical capabilities, not only how naturally protective are they, but then their ability to actually get the job done, again, absolutely insane. A lot of people tout them of having the strongest bite force on the planet. Again, if you've been around this channel for a long time, you'll know I'm a little bit skeptical of that, but I don't deny that they are incredibly powerful and are more than capable of looking after you, from people to a wide variety of other predators or animals. They are extremely healthy and robust dogs that can live for a very long time in very rough environments, rough climates, being very sporadic with feeding and eating and only being able to eat what's available at the time. They can still manage to be powerful dogs that can work all day and remain robust and healthy. It was one of the critical things that they were bred for when they were bred over in Turkey, because they needed to be able to roam miles and acres of land to protect livestock and be able to do it for as long as possible, independently as possible, and do it as effectively as possible. Now, on top of that, the Turkish Kangal is also a very intelligent dog. They don't get the credit they deserve in terms of their intelligence. Yes, they're very independent, which for certain owners does make it a challenge to train, but I do believe that my skill set is more than enough to be able to harness that intelligence into having a really effectively trained Turkish Kangal that not only would be naturally protective and watchful, but I could also train it in terms of hunting roles and utilitarian roles that I would require from it. And again, because of all of that, I believe their reliability is just kind of off the charts, through the roof, absolutely incredibly reliable. So for that reason, I have to have the Turkish Kangal as my #1 pick. Again, I know there's other dogs that in each one of those areas would be better. Again, I think the German Shepherd could be a fantastic choice, but I just love that extra physicality and efficiency in terms of protecting and hunting skill set that the Kangal would bring to the table, in terms of just that kind of confidence that they would also bring from their owners in the apocalypse. So for me, Turkish Kangal. So I think through all this craziness that's going on right now, I'm not going to become a prepper as soon as we get over this and dig a hole in my back garden and put a shipping container in there and buy 28 Kangals. It's not what I'm going to do, but I do think that this has kind of woke a lot of people up, myself included, to go, actually, all this is pretty fragile. It doesn't take much to make what we take for granted go downhill pretty quick. So my dream of being able to live on a small holding or a small farm, I think I'm going to drive faster, harder towards that dream, and I'm going to turn that small holding and small farm into my sanctuary that I can protect. And then worst case scenario, we can dip out to the woodlands and the forest if stuff gets super crazy. But again, on that farm, there's definitely going to be 2 or 3 Turkish Kangals knocking around that live outside. So again, you're welcome to come and try, but just be aware that during the apocalypse, if you do, there's going to be a few Turkish Kangals waiting for you. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Like it if you did, subscribe if you're new here. I hope you join these videos. I'm trying to make them as fun and educational as possible, so it either kind of helps you out where it can, or at least takes your mind off some of the carnage that's going on out there. But like I say, be safe, be kind, look after each other, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Fenrir Canine Show.